Hey everybody, Tom Barnes, stories from the 78. Happy Super Bowl weekend. Big weekend. A lot of the Super Bowl when the game gets kind of lame. And this year, the game might be kind of lame. We'll see. Everybody gets in front of the TV, wants to see the new advertisements for the various advertisers. WeatherTech, a local Illinois company, has been advertising in the Super Bowl for a number of years. They're still in Bolingbrook, hanging out in Illinois, doing their thing, advertising the Super Bowl. So how does a local company go on to advertise in the Super Bowl, which, by the way, is not cheap to do? I'm going to talk to Michael now, and he's going to explain the story of WeatherTech and everything else and how they got to be advertising in the Super Bowl. That is the story from the 78. So we welcome Michael now. How you doing, Michael?
I'm doing good. Thank you very much.
Big weekend for you guys. Kind of a gigantic game happening this Sunday, and you guys are a part of it, right?
It's a very cool feeling, quite frankly. It's one of the biggest events of the year for the entire country. They all come together at one time, and to be a part of that is significant.
So you're with Pinnacle, which is the advertising branch of the story that has become WeatherTech, because I imagine the advertising firm gets the product placed where it needs to be placed in the whole thing. And that whole thing this year and for the past several years has been the Super Bowl. I mean, that's an incredible thing. You guys, you have an office here in Chicago. I saw that you have a couple offices elsewhere, but
Yeah.
either way, this Chicago/Illinois story, I mean, it's not a common one.
No, it's not. I mean, when we take a look at the journey on all of this, when we started 16 years ago working with WeatherTech, we were a pretty small agency. I think we had maybe 40 people or so, and he was a small company based in Downers Grove. He didn't even have a place in Bolingbrook. So we were both very small when we got together. When you look at the Super Bowl stage, look at all the unbelievable brands that are on there. They're either national or global public companies. WeatherTech is the only independent company that I'm aware of that's advertising on the Super Bowl, and they're probably the smallest company advertising on the Super Bowl. And when you look at us, we're probably the smallest agency. We've got 130 people, 3 offices across the country, but we're probably the smallest agency that is creating the developing the ads for for anything that is appearing on the Super Bowl. So it's kind of like this underdog story that's been kind of fun to watch when you look at the historical progress of it.
Yeah, it's funny. I've done a lot of interviews in my time, and it seems like always, not always, I should say, but it seems that is a common theme with Chicago companies in general. There's these companies coming out of the Midwest, and or in this case, the metropolis of the Midwest, that is Chicago area, what have you. And they're always the underdog until they prove, hey, we might be the underdog. That doesn't mean that we're not worthy of a seat at the big kid table, right? And you guys have done that over and over again now at this point, where, I mean, we were talking before we got started, the company was a car mat salesman to advertising in the Super Bowl, in what would you say that span of years was?
So he started his company in 1989.
So not that long ago.
No. So I mean, he's very entrepreneurial. He really understands what's needed in a market, what's unique in the market, and how he can set himself apart. So he did start out, out of his garage, importing mats from England, and rubber mats, all weather rubber mats. And he said, I think I can design something better. So he got together with an engineer and designed what's now called a floor liner, and that's his signature product. And it just took off. And he was primarily in the auto enthusiast space. So he would be advertising in Road and Track, Car and Driver, those types of magazines. And he felt like I need to branch out beyond. So in 2009, I met with him for the first time, and this is probably my favorite story to tell of my career. Is that he gives me a call, we meet, we're in his we're in his facility in Downers Grove. He's given me a tour, and I really didn't understand what his company was about. And he started showing me his product. I said, wow, there's nothing else like this out there. So I saw the magic that could be in the advertising messaging that we can differentiate him among. I mean, nobody's thinking about car mats. So, so I felt like there was a real opportunity here. So we got in his conference room, and it's myself and a couple members of our team, and him and one of his internal marketing people. And one of the first questions he asked me is, he said, Mike, I want to grow my business so that I can get on the Super Bowl. And I want to advertise on the Super Bowl because that means that my business has grown to the point where it makes good marketing sense to advertise on the Super Bowl. Can you get me to the Super Bowl?
Wow.
That was one of the first questions.
No pressure.
And of course I said yes.
Of course.
And he is very bold and aggressive when it comes to advertising. And 5 years later, we're on the Super Bowl. So
that's incredible. 5 years, that's all it took to get from where he was to a big manufacturing facility in Bolingbrook and advertising in the Super Bowl. I mean, that's incredible. Was it hard for you guys as the advertising arm of this relationship to get a hold of the proper people at the NFL to not that to be taken seriously because you're not, a company on the, the echelon of like the typical ones that you see in the Super Bowl, the big cars or the big fast food chains and stuff like that.
Yeah. We were doing a lot of business with, the national networks. And, we just gave them a call and said, listen, our client is interested and, let's start the process. So we had the conversations. They came here to the office. We went through, the pricing and what's required. And we put it all together, and it was, it's the networks. I got to say, the media networks are great partners. They've been, this is obviously, it rotates between the three networks,
Sure.
NBC, CBS, and Fox. And so they've got a lot at stake in this. They want to make sure it's done right. And, it was a smooth process from the first time till literally this past year. And this is our 12th Super Bowl over the last 13 years.
So I imagine, because it's always the big talk about like how much a 30-second commercial costs. And I think I saw that a minute this year's Super Bowl is like $8 million. And that might be during a certain, I don't know, might be in the first quarter, because I know all that stuff is factored in there. So has it been tough to continue to be part of that just because of the pricing has gone up so much, because it's such a world event, you know what I mean? Like, or is it like, this is still a great advertising opportunity because we can ship anywhere in the world?
Well, it is a great advertising opportunity. There's no question about that. Live sports is king when it comes to viewership and things like that.
Especially on broadcast television, right?
Especially on broadcast television. So when you look at the value and the opportunity of advertising on the Super Bowl, it's a great place to be. The cost has gone up exponentially from when we got in, the first time in 2014 to today. It's nearly doubled.
Yeah.
So when they're asking, you're seeing the $8 million. These are companies that are paying $8 million plus to get in now because they came late to the game. So there's literally a waiting list. Never happened before. This is the first year Fox has a waiting list of advertisers waiting to get in, and they've all committed to $8 million or more. But we got in earlier. We did our negotiations and everything way earlier, and so the reported figure from earlier is in the $7 million range. Mm-hmm. So I would say that's the range that most Super Bowl advertisers that you're going to see probably paid. But there's probably 10 or so advertisers that are $8+ million, which is a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean
30 seconds. That's 30 seconds.
Oh, for 30 seconds. Yeah, so
30 seconds.
I mean that's just, but that also talks to the relevance of this ad, and I can imagine the excitement this year because you guys have changed up your ad philosophy a little bit. I mean, you hire like a music director, you
Yeah.
use a song in the ad itself, which kind of parlays with using a music video director, I should say.
Yep.
Why don't you explain a little bit of the change and why the change for this year in terms of like the ad philosophy?
So we took last year's Super Bowl off. We ran a pregame ad, but we did not run in-game. So that over the last 12 years, that's been the first year that we weren't in. And essentially, what we were doing is we had other priorities, marketing priorities. So we chose to sit out the Super Bowl, and we're going in from a brand standpoint. We need to connect with consumers a little bit differently, and we need to stay fresh. People have heard of WeatherTech. We run, we're on air 365 days a year. So, and I think we've done an excellent job in developing that brand, making it a household name, and understanding that it is a premium product, very well engineered and made, and it's made right here in America.
I think that's the best part. American made.
Part.
The products that you use are from the United States. You're not getting things from other countries, which a lot of people are very up to date on with the tariffs and all that stuff going on in the world. So yeah.
So that's been his anchor of what he stands for, and he's true to that. I mean, it's amazing how he organizes his company and in really doing everything that he can to make everything here. Obviously, the employment implications that has is he's got a lot, I don't know, 1,500 employees or something like that, but the impact is much greater than those employees. It's all the other businesses like us that also are employed by him to do things, and I've got 130 people, and so
it's a domino effect.
It is a domino effect, and it's impactful. So we wanted to go in a little bit of a different direction this year. We wanted it to be entertaining, and we wanted it to communicate across all generations. And so it was a little over a year ago we came up with this concept. We pitched it to David McNeil. He's the owner and founder of WeatherTech, and he loved it. He's like, "Oh, this is such a great idea," and he's very, very involved in the marketing, and he's a very smart marketing mind. So we were going to do an original music score to this ad. And as we're talking about it, he's searching on his phone and he's doing something. All of a sudden, he starts to play a song, and it was Born to Be Wild by Steppenwolf. And he says, "This is the song we need to use because these old ladies, they are, they're wild. They're out having the time of their lives, and we should use a piece of iconic music." Like, all right, let's do it. So that's how it kind of came together.
That's great. And I know just from talking to folks like yourself over the years, getting a song is not as easy as people think either. Like you got to pay for the rights and all these things. Yeah. And sometimes the way, different rights holders, you got to go to the actual artist. So, I mean, just, to get a song and then use it for what you want is part of the dream. And it sounds like that all of you got the dream because that's the song you wanted. And luckily enough, it was available to use. And here we are. When will it air? Do you know exactly when, like what quarter or anything like that?
Yeah, we'll be in the second quarter. I think we'll probably be right around mid quarter. But that's where we are. We're kind of grandfathered in year after year, second quarter. So we love that spot.
I imagine it's probably between like the newer companies that you were mentioning earlier that are paying the premium price on a waiting list. I imagine then the placement in the game itself is also a negotiation as well.
Yes. Yeah, that's all part of it. So it's part of it is timing. When you can get in, they'll hold your spot for your position. I shouldn't say spot. Right. They'll hold your position in the game for a certain period of time, and if our negotiations aren't complete by that period of time, they'll basically put that position in game open to other advertisers. So you've got to either do it or you don't.
So you're hoping that this runs after a touchdown or the drive leading to a touchdown?
I would love it to. I think a drive leading to a touchdown. because there's a lot of anticipation of what comes next. So if there's a TV timeout or if there's
That's your favorite, right? TV timeout. You're like, yes,
yeah,
because
exactly.
everybody be glued to this TV because they're like, oh, you know, the whole thing, right?
Right.
So, what touchdown driver, what team are you rooting for this touchdown drive? Are you allowed to say?
You know, hey, you know, it's my personal aspect of this. You know, I don't have a dog in the hunt. I'm a Bears fan.
Yeah,
You
me
know,
too.
that's who I am. But I'd love to see the Eagles win. I've been you know, since back when Jaworski was the quarterback. I've just been an Eagles fan. So if I'm rooting for a team, it's going to be Philly.
Yeah, my dad would always say, if it's not the Bears in the Super Bowl, then I root for the NFC. So we'll go
Yeah,
with that
there you
philosophy.
go. There
And
you
really
go.
quick, WeatherTech, you guys, we haven't talked much about the product itself. It's been around, you said, since 89, right?
89.
89, start off with those laser cut floor mats that are in the cars, but now it has expanded to other things besides the floor mats. Just run through a little bit of what the company itself offers for those who maybe are still new to the WeatherTech name.
Sure. So when you look at their manufacturing facility, they have all these machines that can produce products. It doesn't only have to be for a car. So they decided they're going to diversify outside of automotive and produce other products for different categories. So they started out with pet products. So pet feeding bowls and various products within the pet category is an expansion there. Everybody loves their pets.
Yeah, and you need a good bowl because I've had terrible bowls, which sounds ridiculous, but it makes a difference because it's either a giant mess or not.
Yeah, exactly. So they designed it and engineered it, you know, to be top notch and solve problems and be very healthy for a dog in the position that it eats and cats. So when you take a look at that, they've got a pet category line, and they also have home products. So they've got you know, boot mats and boot trays, and you know, mats when you walk into the house.
I have
They've
one of
got
those.
under sink mats. They've got Christmas tree mats. They have soap holders and all sorts of different types of household products that they've designed and engineered. So they have hundreds of products on their website. So they've got a wide range.
And before people go to the big box or even on Amazon or whatnot, think about where you buy your stuff, especially now with the trade wars going on or potential trade wars. You got a place right here in Bolingbrook, Illinois, that is selling all over the world, that can do the ship. Or I'm hoping I'm not speaking out of turn when I say they can ship over the world or
Anywhere in the world.
Yeah, that's okay. I just want to make sure. Because it's, you know, we got to support each other right here in the States, and this is a great way to do that. Michael, I imagine you mentioned the website. That's probably the best way to go about buying these products. Do they have a physical space people can go and check out things, or is it all based online?
No, they can in Bolingbrook, Illinois. They have a factory store you can go to, see every product that they have, and it's a fabulous facility. And then they also have, just outside of Denver, Colorado, they have another physical store that you can go to.
Amazing. Well, good luck for the Super Bowl this year. And I mean, I imagine it's probably must-see TV up until that moment, and you can relax a little bit seeing that it airs. But I imagine, what is that thrill to see something that you worked on and you've been working on for years? What is that thrill like to see it airing in the Super Bowl? What's that like for you? Who've been doing this and working alongside WeatherTech for all these years?
Yeah, you know, when you're producing the spot and when the spot is done, you watch it 100 times. You look at it, you're looking for anywhere where you can tweak it, but when it's done, it's done. But when you actually see it on air in the game, it's just a whole different level of feeling, and it's so gratifying, and it's a big celebration. You know, you see that 30 seconds goes fast. You know, so you're watching it, the spot comes on, you're glued to the TV, and now you're getting the experience that a normal consumer does.
Yeah, for sure.
And we're very proud to have our work shown on a national stage like that. So it's cool.
Well, I don't plan on leaving the TV too often during the Super Bowl, but I will make sure that I will be glued for the second quarter just to see it, just because I think it'd be kind of fun just to show the video while it airs during the Super Bowl. So Mike, thank you for joining me. I appreciate you taking time out of your day, and this is days before the big game, so
Yeah.
I do appreciate carving out some time to chat.
Well, I appreciate the invite.